When I was 10 years old, for a couple of weeks, I had a terrible nightmare. Since she was a child, her memory is not clear. According to her mother, she was screaming and rolling around her floor every night, scratching her throat. When she woke up in the morning, she was sweating her night sweats. I hope this is overnight. It lasts every night. I was really scared to sleep. She quickly ran out of sleep. She was as thin as a skeleton and her complexion became like clay. She was seen by a doctor and a psychic, but the cause is completely unknown. The night that flutters around continues as usual. So her parents also lost weight. I even thought they were more ill. As I mentioned earlier, I'll be saved in a couple of weeks. The benefactor was neither a psychic nor a pastor of a shaved priest. Guess the miso. You will never win. The correct answer is hypnotist. The hypnotist is also an amateur old man. It seems that his father had easily cured his mild phobia, and I was asked to see him because of that. I thought I was a hypnotist, but it turned out that I was like my dad and was prone to suggestion. The strategy he took was to make me forget the nightmare. Oddly enough, I remembered clearly even after waking up the contents of my dream. Although that was limited to a series of nightmares at the time, the hypnotist teacher had the Japanese paper that imitated the house to write the contents of the dream. It was painful to remember. It was an unpleasant task. The teacher puts the Japanese paper in a box, sticks a bill on the lid and does not open it. I hid it in a place that only I could understand. I'm sorry, I can't say specifically, a place where you can easily take out the box, but you can never think of someone else finding it. Let's say that. Even my parents. The teacher said the nightmare was trapped in it, so don't be afraid. It's okay if I don't open the box. This mysteriously hit me, freeing me from nightmares. Imagine how grateful our family was to the teacher. But the box full of nightmare seeds is still within my reach. This has been stuck in the corner of my heart all the time. When I returned home after graduating from university, I remembered that box. When I remembered it, I couldn't help it. I know best how terrifying my dreams were at that time, but I have forgotten what they were. There was certainly a feeling of being scared. However, the fear of childhood is a tiny thing for adults. Now I can somehow guess what the teacher's words at that time meant to me. I know the seeds of magic tricks. I wanted to expose the horror of those days to the light of the white sun and make it a funny story. With that in mind, I secretly picked up the box. You can see the bill on the lid. If you think that the teacher doesn't have psychic powers, it's pretty tiny. I started rubbing the edges with my nails to peel them off. Suddenly, the contents of the dream that I had forgotten for 10 years began to be reproduced in my brain. I was in a Japanese-style room and was looking at the shoji screens that were lit. The shadow of bamboo grass on the porch was cast. Only one window in the top row was cut out in a neat square. From there, a grinning, fortunate middle-aged Ebisu face was peeping. But it's just the face. The shadow of bamboo grass just sways on the shoji. No shadow of its torso is visible. There was double-sided bran on my back. I also knew that there was a continuous room in the back, which was partitioned by bran. I heard a faint sound voice of a small pigeon crying. Then there was a turn sound. It's getting bigger and bigger. Open the bran one after another and something will come to you with all your might. I heard a laughing voice of a man and a happy voice from the bottom of my stomach. It got bigger and bigger. I was frozen. I was convinced that I should never turn around. Turn. The bran behind me opened. It took a fishy breath on my nape. I thought it was intentional. And tell me with my ears. I dropped the box. I returned to myself with a clicking sound. I put it back in place and went straight home. So even now, the nightmare box is there.